Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture internet news website. Alrighty, everyone, we have a very exciting guest for you today. As of this recording, she has over 5,400 Facebook followers and 13,500 Instagram followers, and her YouTube channel has been viewed over, as of this recording, 408,000 times. So please help me welcome Nadia Vaeh.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, Jake. Hey, everyone.
Hey Nadia, how are you?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So let's get this conversation rolling. So, when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
So I was always like a very musical child. From the age of 2, I was, trying to sing and make percussive noises and whatnot. And I joined a traveling choir. And from there, I discovered pop music and I started kind of dissecting lyrics, and I really loved poetry at the time. So then I realized like I can turn poetry and put melody to it, and really fell in love with songwriting, and found myself in my first band that was like an emo type
Oh,
of
that's
like
great.
pop music, and did that in high school, and then decided I wanted to make it my career. Fast forward, about 8 years later, 10 years later from then, I decided to actually like make it I always knew I wanted to do it. I just never actually had the courage to do it until then. That's kind of why I call myself a late bloomer, but it's never too late to follow your dreams. So
I totally agree. This is the second year of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, and I've been doing this for over a decade. So I am a little late to the game, but there's nothing wrong with being a late bloomer.
exactly. You better just get started. It doesn't matter when you do. So.
Totally agree. So, who are your music industry role models, and how do they influence your sound?
So, I'm all over the map with that, but definitely with my upcoming album, I'm drawing from a lot of my inspiration and time listening to Green Day, Blink 182, Avril Lavigne, Paramore, All Time Low, lots of really good pop punk, pop rock vibes, Foo Fighters, list goes on and on. But I definitely grew up listening to all kinds of genres like reggae, folk, country, and adult contemporary. So I think there's definitely some genre fusing going on with a lot of my stuff. And who's to say I might not put out a folk album in like a couple years? I don't know. We'll see where things go. But I just love music and definitely am inspired all over the place.
And that's true because we see a lot with the music industry today, like your many different stuff. Like look at Miley Cyrus. One minute she did hip hop, and the next minute she did country, and then she did rock. So there's a lot of different people that can do that, and also there's a lot of melding of genres I've been seeing.
Yeah, it's one of the very beautiful developments that I think is happening with the music industry, is that genre is just not as important anymore, which I think is incredible for, really, for creatives to really not be boxed in. So I think that's a really nice evolving factor of things.
I totally agree. It's very interesting, and there's also a lot interesting going on. Like for example, there's pop country, and then like also rock country, something I haven't heard of in a long time. So,
I know, it's so cool.
all right. So, what have been some of the challenges that you faced throughout your career, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
Definitely, as an independent artist, the challenges are very eclectic and all over the map. It's tough when your passion is also your career and source of income. Um, Something that I've had to really work on is striking balance with my life, because I'm so impassioned about what I do, and you know, because there's passion, you go into it not for the money, you go into it because you love it. So then there's the whole other side of that. We're like, oh my God, if I don't work hard enough, I'm not gonna be able to pay these bills. If I don't book like 10 shows, like, so it's really just I think the biggest issue I've had is striking balance. And also, because, being artists can kind of feel thankless in a way. Like, yes, fans really appreciate the music, and they, um, they are what keep us going with their experiences, listening and coming to our shows and everything. I think what can feel thankless is energy exchange, like, Spotify streams. Like, for example, these big streaming entities are not properly paying out artists or songwriters. So sometimes that can be a little bit, I would say, like, emotionally taxing. Um, uh, and just overall, I think many artists struggle with mental health issues because there isn't proper compensation, and art in many cultures has kind of become a commodity. But I think the beauty of being an artist outweighs a lot of the struggles. And I'm very fortunate to be able to have songwriting and music to be able to work through my emotions and to process and heal, not just from like the struggles of being an artist, but the struggles of life and the trials and tribulations of what it means to be human. So
Absolutely, because you have, like, if it's in your blood, you have to pursue it. If, like, for example, I love writing, I love communicating, and even though things are different now with my career, I've always loved writing. I always try to find the time to either write something or even or even record podcasts. I always loved. I have to have it. It's in my bones.
create. We're here on this planet to create. And whenever somebody says, "Oh, I'm not that creative," or "I'm not creative," I'm just like, "You are. You're a creator. I promise." You just have to tap into it. But it definitely, it's soul food, So.
Yeah, and it's basically if you're creating codes, creating workouts, or if you're creating food or like drinks or mixing drinks, you are a creator.
Absolutely. Creation comes in many different shapes and forms. So
Awesome. So I would love to talk to you about your songwriting. So I picked out several of your songs that I really liked, and let's talk about some of the stories behind them. All
sorry,
righty.
you cut out just a bit. Are you can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about everyone, technical difficulties. So let's go back to that question. So let's talk about some of the stories behind your songs. I would love to learn some of the stories.
Yes. What strikes your fancy?
All right, let's start off with, I know you dislike having like Spotify, and I think it's not a shame and it's a shame that Spotify doesn't pay everybody, especially artists and podcasts. But however, what I love about it the most was how many streams you got. But like with Never Leave the Basement, as of this recording, it's your most streamed song on Spotify with 135,000 streams.
Yeah. That's my Ivy League child song, baby. Yes, I'm very, very proud of them, and that song definitely got me through a lot of hard times in the pandemic and helped a lot of other people too. And it's really nice to see and experience the sharing of my mental state and struggles, and how that kind of transcended over to others and was very relatable. Made me feel less alone during that time. So, I think it was definitely written from a place of frustration and just feeling like exhausted from the lack of true connection because we were so tied to our screens in order to stay safe during pandemic. And I feel like it exacerbated a lot of mental health struggles, like body image issues for myself and a lot of friends that I know, in the industry and out of the industry. And I think, I also was very frustrated with how society doesn't properly, take care. I feel like I'm a very like hippie mindset, and the fact that I believe that there's enough to go around for everyone. And I think that sometimes society, I think sometimes society basically limits abundance for people, and that's kind of where like the in the hook I say advertisements scroll like pavement, max us out like credit cards, don't pay them. Like there's this really bad societal system of, okay, well let's just charge it to the credit card, instead of really practicing like, oh, like we kind of have everything we already need, we don't, you know. And it keeps people down, it keeps people tied to the credit system, it keeps people from advancing forward. And that's a whole, like the song has so many meanings to me, but you know, also just kind of, I was really trying to cultivate love for myself, and you know, and that was tough in a time where you had to communicate mainly through screens, and you know, social anxiety was definitely exacerbated by the pandemic, and re-entering life was weird, and it's still kind of weird coming back out and talking to people and interfacing with people. So definitely tapped into that as well in that song. So
Awesome. Awesome. I definitely felt the frustration. I agree with you about the frustration being behind a screen to experience all majority of our lives for the past couple of months. It was definitely frustrating at times.
a lot. It's a lot. We're not meant to for it, you know? So
Yeah, we're not meant to break. We're just meant to be in front of people and not be live behind our computers.
mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so let's get to another song, shall we? How about Heart Shaped Box?
So I've always been a huge fan of Nirvana, and in particularly this song was a big part of my adolescence, teenage years, and I just love the angstiness to it. And that hook I really resonate with too, because it's like feeling like just trapped and just like bogged down by the opinions of other people. Like, you know, the song has a lot of deep meaning to it, and I really wanted to take Kurt Cobain's and Nirvana's version of it and kind of cinematic, and you know, make it a little more cinematic and vibey. And it was so fun to.
That is so cool because the thing is, Nirvana does a lot of great music, and it definitely shows the power of pop punk.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they definitely knocked down a lot. You know, created a pathway for a lot of greats. So.
Absolutely. So how about Boomerang?
So Boomerang, I love that song. It's a lot of fun, and I feel like in the writing process, I was able to let go of a lot of things that were holding me back. I feel like a lot of my songwriting sometimes is about letting go of things that no longer serve me. And Boomerang was one of those pivotal moments for me as a songwriter and in my life where I was just like, you know what? No more returning to this, you know, bad cycle of events. This is no longer working for you, Nadia. Time to move on. And in the production process and recording process, it's kind of cool to see like my thought patterns change and shift. So
Awesome. And by the way, it's very hard to get. I agree with you because it's very hard to get to throw away those problems in your haunted past, your past failures and your haunted things. I kind of wish you could like just throw it away and like in a bow and arrow just shoot it across this universe and never hear from it again.
it'd be so nice. But us humans are so good at clinging on to things in our subconscious, and then next thing we know, we're back in the same loop. So it's really about cultivating awareness, which is why I love songwriting, because it tells on me all the time. I end up calling myself out all the time. I'm like, damn it. Okay, fine. I'll work on that. All right.
Yeah, believe me, I've caught myself doing some stuff as well, saying no, don't talk about that. Focus on some stuff, and
No.
it actually works. So
It does. Self-awareness is the key.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about a song that actually turned me onto your music, and I would say Snake Lady.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. So Snake Lady is a really fun song. I love the dancey vibes, and um, the song definitely makes me feel very powerful and empowered. And it was written about like reflecting on a time where I was not at all any of those things. I was like a little puppet and like very easily manipulated. And I feel like this song was kind of like taking back my power and also forgiving myself for that time period. And be like, you know what, that's okay. That time shaped you into this like powerful, strong woman that you are becoming and that you are embodying now. So I'm so glad that you found me from that song. That's so cool.
It is, guys, and you can listen to that and you can read that review on jake-shake.com. So after this interview, head over there and check it out. So let's talk about your collaborators because a lot of artists I talk to have certain singers, they have certain songwriters, they have certain musicians and producers in mind to help shape your sound. Have you thought about them and how they would help you?
The people I currently work with or that I've worked with on all my stuff in the past.
Oh, or future collaborators, future your
Oh,
dream.
future collab. Okay, yes. Manifestation here on the Jake's Take. So, I definitely there's a whole slew of people I would love to work with. Um, uh, Justin Tranter, I think, is an incredible songwriter. Um, I am a huge fan of um, uh, shoot. I feel like I'm blanking out right now. Of course, like when you're in an interview situation, it's like all the names of the people that you want to like call to are like poof, gone.
Yeah,
Um,
that's happened to me before, so don't worry. But however, speaking of Justin Tranter, I love his music. I actually exchanged an interview with him when he was still doing Semi-Precious Weapons.
that's amazing. That's so cool.
Now I wish I could get him on the podcast.
Now he's a little bit harder to reach.
Uh,
um, I'm like going to my phone right now trying to find what I was going to tell you. But I mean, as far as artists go too, like I would literally, I don't know what I would give up to work with Avril Lavigne, but I'll get back to you on that. Like I think she's a queen. I really love the collaboration actually that she just did with Willow Smith. Fire. Anyone, I would love to record with either of them, write with either of them. But this is kind of random, but I would love to work with Dolly Parton because I just think that she's a queen and so talented and just like I need her like maternal vibes in my life. I don't know. Um and yeah, I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit. There's so much talent out there. As far as producers go, I think Orchestra is incredible. I mean, I'm all over the map. I
I got
want to
to
work in I mean, Halsey's amazing. I love that she bends genres and she doesn't give any. I'm not going to curse, but she doesn't give any crap about what box to be put in. And I think she's definitely an idol of mine because she's just kind of made her own way in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And
I definitely think Halsey's great. It's a great. She always puts out great stuff. That gets people talking. And
oh
I
yeah,
want to go back to I want to go back to you on Dolly because I did have the pleasure to ask at least one or two questions to her on a line with dozens of other reporters on past occasions, and still one of the best moments ever.
oh my gosh, that sounds incredible. What did she like? What did you ask her?
And basically, one of the questions I asked her was regarding about potentially if she was going to work with Kenny Rogers at that time, was he was about ready to do like his final farewell tour before he passed a couple years before he passed away, and if there were any plans to do that or like to
That's so
collaborate.
cool. And and what did she end up saying?
Basically, it's basically if their schedules were aligned, it would work. It would work out, and their managements were aligned, it would work out.
Nice. She seems like such a just incredibly genuine, kind soul. I love her. I love her.
Probably one of the greatest female recording artists of all time.
Oh, completely agree with you on that. Hands down.
All right, we guys start winding down our conversation. So, what are your favorite social media platforms?
I definitely post. I actually really just hate all social media. No, I'm just kidding. But I definitely post the most on Instagram. I'm warming up to TikTok. I enjoy the creative side of TikTok now that I'm kind of like getting more involved in like video editing and getting more creative in that way. And YouTube, I think really the video based platforms are my favorite, where they're kind of like pushing reels and vertical videos and stuff like that. So.
I am trying my best to get on TikTok. I am still super hesitant about TikTok because I know my attention span will limit if I go on TikTok. And I don't want to be caught in a whirlwind. Not just a whirlwind, but like a slowly go back and look into this like a wormhole.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with all social media in general. I try to do the post and ghost, like Joe Rogan says, just post and ghost, but it's tough. It's easy to get sucked in.
It
So.
It is. So, if you have any, now one of my regular last questions is always, if you have a chance to meet with indie artists that are just slowly getting ready to get their feet wet, and like and they ask you for advice, what advice would you share with them?
I would say reach out and branch out to as many collaborators as you can when you're getting going, so you can learn and absorb as much as you possibly can, and try to educate yourself on the business so you don't get screwed over, as well as when faced with rejection, please don't let it derail you. Don't let it stop you. And also, one last really key piece of advice is perfectionism is not real. And put yourself out there, allow yourself to be vulnerable, even if you're not 100% happy with the product, because there's so much like blackmail of music that I released in the past that's now archived. But I put it out there when I was first starting, just to be able to, get to the next collaborator that might give me a chance, and then move on to the next collaborator that might believe in hear and see something that they could maybe develop a little bit more and help finesse, and just put yourself out there as much as possible. And that's the ticket. That's the key.
All righty, my final question is this: where can my audience look for your music and also connect with you on social media?
So on all social media, I'm at Nadia Veah. That's NADIA VAEH. And YouTube is the only one that's got a different backslash. That's Nadia Veah TV. So NADIA VAEH TV.
Also wonderful. So, guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. It's Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Subscribe to my social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Once again, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And Nadia, Jake's Take is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year.
Congratulations! And thank you for having me on your 10th anniversary. I'm going to follow along on your continued journey as well. I'm going to follow you on all the things.
Awesome, guys. And make sure you visit jakestake.com for my review of Nadia's single, because it is fun. It was fun. I really liked it. And guys, if you're financially able to, please consider heading to PayPal to help keep jake-shake.com, my platform, up and running. If you can't, I totally understand. But a good subscription to the podcast and a social media like this and 5-star rating on this podcast would be perfect. Nadia, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was great, enlightening, and I'm very excited to see what you do next.
Thank you, and thank you so much for the support.
All right, guys, thank you so much for taking time on your day to watch this episode or to listen to this episode. Until next time, have a great one. Bye.